Back in 2014, a small team of indie game developers formed Red Hook Studios and created a Kickstarter to fund their vision for a game called Darkest Dungeon. The Kickstarter had a goal of $75,000, but obtained more than $300,000 in backers. Now, 6 years later, Red Hook Studios has released the much-anticipated sequel to Darkest Dungeon. Does Darkest Dungeon 2 expand and evolve from its predecessor? Or has the game turned into its own version of a shambling horror?
Let us hope they find peace.
These are our impressions.
And now the true test. Hold fast or expire.
Hey folks, if you enjoy this video, be sure to hit that like, subscribe, and notification button. It's 3 small clicks for you, but means the world to us. Let's get started. I want to get one thing out of the way first. I'm a huge fan of the first Darkest Dungeon. Its gothic horror fantasy art design and its gameplay. Everything about the game is pure bliss for a dark fantasy RPG enthusiast. Darkest Dungeon 2, I'm pleased to say, continues its legacy with grand fashion and is absolutely fantastic.
By confronting the past, we learn to face the future.
The biggest change fans will see right away is the move into a completely 3D space with 3D character models. While the first Darkest Dungeon was completely 2D drawings on a flat plane to complement the art style of Chris Barras' vision, its sequel kicks everything up visually to 11.
The work continues.
At first glance, you'll see that major characters like the Highwaymen have had a full redesign. The slightly larger head and small bodies designed from the original game are gone here, but everyone still looks absolutely gorgeous, even if the Highwayman does look super jacked.
He would be a fugitive, a hunted man, but a free one nonetheless.
In fact, all the characters and enemy models look absolutely stunning. The animations of both your heroes and enemies are incredible. With fantastic dodge and attack animations, you can tell great care went into this process. It's the little things like having the Plague Doctor actually reach into her bag to grab something before an attack, or a brace animation right before you select a defensive ability. Even the enemies have great animations and tell a story. For example, the Corrupted Woodsman enemy is hauntingly sad, as you can see a story just based off the model itself. While the art is absolutely amazing, and the art team should win every video game award you could possibly get, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the audio. The soundtrack is stellar, with voice actor Wayne June reprising his role as a narrator in spectacular fashion.
You were bold once. Be bold once more.
But what really stands out are the game's sound effects. The sound of the man-at-arms mace sliding across the ground after a successful attack.
On to the next.
The drinking and throwing of the glass from the grave robber. And my absolute favorite, the spinning and slicing of the Highwayman's daggers are pure butter to your ears, and the sound team should be absolutely commended for this amazing work. I've gone on and on about how the game looks and sounds, but how does it play? Fans of the original will be happy to see the turn-based formula has made a full comeback. You still take a party of up to 4 heroes through dungeons, manage stress, and get treasure. At its core, it's the same rough and tough RNG type gameplay you'll love. That said, there are also a lot of new changes. For starters, dungeons have been replaced with routes you travel through in your coach, which you directly control. Now, the coach does feel a little clunky to move around, however it's by no means a deal breaker. You explore these different dungeons by way of these routes, sort of like a Nightmare Lovecraft road trip. These places are similar to the warrens and ruins in the first game. Each dungeon or route has certain creatures and hazards that you'll want to prep for before you head out. For example, the new area, the Sprawl, has lots of fire-based enemies, so equipping fire resistance and burn heals is probably a good call. Knowing the route you're taking and what to expect is paramount to your success.
The smallest variable can make all the difference.
There's also a new mechanic added called Loathing. It affects your hope, as the game calls it, which is basically your torchlight from the first Darkest Dungeon. The higher your hope is, the less bonuses enemies get in combat, and the less likelihood you'll be ambushed. The less hope you have, the stronger the enemies become. You can see the Loathing mechanic in the top left-hand corner of the screen for the routes you take. Not only does it give enemies bonuses, but it also affects how fast your hope drains. You can reduce your Loathing by successfully completing certain battles, but you can also avoid these battles at the cost of keeping a higher Loathing. It's a fun micromanaged mechanic to keep you on your toes.
A slow dissection. An unavoidable end.
Stress also makes a return. This time it's been toned down to a max point value of 10. Bad things happen from attacks or conversations that affect stress. If one of your heroes maxes out to 10, that character will have a meltdown, which will cause him to take a massive amount of damage, and negatively affect everyone's relationship affinity with him, which is another new mechanic. Each hero's relationship with another hero has an affinity value. This replaces the hero's resolve from the first game. Blue means bad or negative affinity, and gold means good and positive affinity. Anything and everything can affect a relationship's affinity for your heroes, but you can help nudge it in the right direction with items and such. When an affinity relationship between two characters reaches a certain point on the positive scale, you'll get bonuses and suffer less stress. If the relationship affinity goes negative, well, that hero may not accept a heal from that other hero. He may pass turns, and will also increase character stress across the party.
In crisis, no gain is insignificant.
The relationship affinity system is cool, and when the snowball effect happens in a positive way, it feels earned and well rewarded.
Aspiration unites the hopeful.
The end goal of each run is to get to an inn. Once you've conquered the route and arrive, it's here you'll buff and treat your wounds, upgrade character abilities, and even upgrade your coach with cosmetic and bonus items. Hardcore fans will notice that XP and armor upgrades are completely gone. Instead, the game progresses you using a profile system that increases each time you die or complete a run. With each new profile level, you'll gain access to new items, trinkets, quirks, and even characters. I for one like the system a lot more than the original level system in Darkest Dungeon 1. For example, if your level 6 party wiped, it would take an excessive amount of time to grind them up back to that level, so I welcome this change. Another interesting thing is that you cannot have more than 2 of the same hero in your party. This may change in the future, but as of now, you're limited to 4 different heroes at the start of your run. If a hero falls in battle and you happen to make it to an inn, that hero is replaced with another in your roster automatically that you didn't begin with at the start. While armor upgrades are gone, you can still upgrade your hero's abilities via a resource called Mastery, which you'll earn by winning battles. Each hero's ability can only be upgraded once, but be aware, Mastery is somewhat rare, so you have to think twice before deciding which abilities on what heroes to upgrade. New abilities are acquired and unlocked permanently for each hero after you discover a certain location on your routes called the Shrine of Reflection. Entering the Shrine of Reflection will convey a backstory and sometimes a battle that's more of a puzzle that you'll have to win in order to earn the new ability. Supply items have also been slightly changed. They are now combat items. Like bandages, flash powder, and herbs, you can equip to your hero and don't take a turn to use either. You can use these items to do a quick heal, stop a status effect, or blind an enemy. It all plays amazingly into the game's great combat system. While in items are items you can only use while at an inn to heal, reduce stress, and help improve character affinity relationships. I will say the UI is great, and the amount of data and micromanaging has been toned down significantly compared to the first game. Gone are random misses and dodges in combat encounters. The game does a great job at conveying status effects and what they do, so you'll always be aware if an enemy has a high chance to dodge an attack, which cuts out a lot of the frustration from the first game.
And now, the greatest test of all.
Darkest Dungeon 2 is still in early access, so there are currently only 9 heroes, with some glaring omissions. Where's my Crusader, Tyler? Where's my Crusader? But I have no doubt new classes will be added in the future.
Persistence will overcome even the greatest of threats.
Darkest Dungeon 2 is stepping up to be even more impressive than its predecessor. The design, art, and music put together what is no doubt a masterpiece in the works. It's absolutely beautiful. Everyone who worked on this should be insanely proud of what they've created. If you haven't picked up Darkest Dungeon 2, you should go do it now. At $29.99, the game's a steal. Set forth, adventurers, into the black clutches of danger and death. Adventure forward into the darkest dungeon once again. Hey folks, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit that like, subscribe, notification button. It's 3 small clicks for you, but means the world to us. For more video impressions and everything else gaming related, you're already in the right place. You're on Shacknews.com.
The campaign is long, and victory will come.